With shiny, sharp axe in hand, I go cut wood. Alright guys, I'm in a wooded area. Not too far off the beaten path, shall I say. And I am driving around looking for an oak. There's tons of carrot wood everywhere. That's carrot wood. And carrot wood's actually a good bow wood. I've made a couple of bows out of it, but I'm trying to get more of the old school products. So we'll see what we come across back here. Look at all these fire ants. I mean, they're everywhere. I accidentally touched it with my saw, and I mean, if you were to lay down there for 5 seconds, you would have to go to the hospital. Fire ants. You gotta love Florida. Here I have found some previously cut, already seasoned wood, but I have no idea what kind of wood it is. And I came back here a month or so ago and hacked down some wood, or grabbed some wood out of this pile and tried to make a bow out of it, and the bow snapped with very little force, and it really upset me because I had backed it and yeah, went through a lot of bull crap on it, and it just, I mean, I backed it with sinew and it just broke on me. So I'm not going to even mess with that. This looks like this would be some sort of oak, but in fact it is a wax myrtle. And wax myrtle does make good bow wood. The problem with this tree, hi Mr. Dragonfly. The problem with this tree is that it is not big enough for a bow. But if this is a little bigger, wax myrtle, great bow wood. Now here we have a larger wax myrtle. I hope I'm right. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure all the oaks are dropping acorns right now and are covered in acorns, to say the least. And an oak and a myrtle actually look a lot alike, and you can be confused very easily. And this myrtle is well big enough to make a bow out of. In fact, if I were, I'm not going to, but if I were to cut this tree down right here, notice the bark twists around the tree. Starting here, if you were to follow the bark, it doesn't run straight up the tree like you would want it to. Like here, it turns, which means it's actually not going to be good, because that indicates that the wood underneath the bark also turns and twists like that. So we're going to move along. And back out into the light. Brazilian pepper tree. Invasive species. Does not make anything good. You can't make a bow out of it. You can make nothing from this. Total worthless plant. I'm a bit of a rock collector too, guys. But thus far I've found absolutely nothing that naps in my area. And by naps, I mean flint naps. These wax myrtle saplings are just everywhere. I really thought they were oak. So evidently wax myrtle doesn't have any growth rings that are visible. It's a stringy material or whatever. Huh. Strange. More wax myrtle. Carrot wood. Hitchhikers. Rock. Shoe. And we'll keep looking. I'll be back with you guys in a second. This reminds me of like some English woods, you know, Nottingham Forest. I know, we're in Southwest Florida. Okay, I just poked myself in the eye like really bad with a stick. And I cannot see out of that eye very well anymore. Everything is very blurry. This sucks. But I'm having trouble seeing, so I'm going to go back to my truck. Holy shit. What is that? What kind of animal do you guys think this is? You know, a good way to tell, I guess, is look for canines. Dude, you see that? Those are tusks. This is a boar. I was hoping that there was a piece of bark or something in there that would rinse out. But it's not rinsing, which means there's a scratch on my retina. And probably a bad one. I guess I should look in the mirror. And I'd like to wash this skull up, show it to my pop. And yeah, it's definitely got omnivore teeth. It's got grinders for chewing stuff, but it's got these tusks. So that's a pig. It's not a doubt in my mind that is a hog. And these are leg bones. You can make nice tools out of them. There's a hip bone that is already nice and flat and would probably make a really good arrowhead. More leg bones. Bones are pretty solid. I don't think I'm going to keep that one. With the leg bones and that one hip bone I'm going to keep in the skull. So now, let me just set you guys up over here for a second. And make somewhat of a bag out of this with my one blind eye ass. Ho! Drop the camera. Alright. You know, that really sucks. My eye hurts. More so by the second. And just really could have gone without that happening and been pretty happy. But that kind of thing happens, and you know, what am I going to do? Panic, freak out, drop what I'm doing and call 911? I mean, I looked, I assessed my eye, I didn't see a hole in it. I am in some pain. It hurts like a mamba jamba. But basically, I've given up the hunt on the wax myrtle tree. And I'm going to see if I can't get down on the other side of these woods over here and try to get something. So I'll be back with you. Alrighty, well, what I'm fixing to do is try to heal myself without having to go to the hospital. I've made basically saline solution. I've taken some sea salt, put it in some warm water, and now I'm just letting it dissolve real good so I'm not dumping large chunks of sea salt into my eyeball. This sucks. I'm on the hunt again for a bow stave. And I'm looking for a wooded area. Doesn't have to be large. And preferably not private property, because I'm not trying to get arrested. Found some woods, but the place to park was less than sufficient, so I parked on the side of some property of some people that I don't know, and hopefully they don't say anything. If they do, I'll be forced to move my vehicle. This here is dwarf mulberry. The Indians used this for several different things. Not sure if it's edible. Definitely not going to test it out on myself and find out, but dwarf mulberry. Here it is. You'll look at the bark here. It runs nice and straight. This is wax myrtle. I'm probably going to take this one, so I'll go ahead and mark it. And by marking it, I just mean just take a couple of hacks out of the bottom of it, and I'll be back. Well, I've been hacking on it for just a couple minutes here, and it's going. You know, that's with the hatchet. I haven't broken into the saw yet, but it's like you can't help but think of how hard the primitive peoples worked just to cut a tree down. We're at the timber stage. Timber! Guys, well, I got the tree fell. There's the log from which it came. One more thing I'd like to touch on. The reason I'm out harvesting bowwood right now is because it's a sliver moon, pretty much a new moon, which means just like the tides, the moon controls the sap in the trees, and there'll be less sap in this tree if I harvest it now than there will be during a full moon. So you want to harvest your bowwoods during a new moon. That will let them season quicker and just help you a lot in the bow making process. Time to grab this nice bow stave that I've just collected and haul it out of the woods over to my truck. We're going to head on home. Well, now that I'm back at the house, I'm going to unload this puppy and go get a nice drink of water and then split the log. But I like to cut with a circular saw a groove right down the center. This will help me split the log properly and not have any runoff. Make sure you wear some sort of protection when you do this so that you're not in any danger of hurting yourself. I'd like to talk to you for a little bit about why I keep coming out and coming back down on the log. It's because the log slightly curves, and it's hard to cut with a circular saw on a curve. And I don't want to mess things up, so I'm trying to go with the grain of this thing. So when you see me coming up and down, that's why. Well, here are some tools that you're going to want to use while splitting your logs. Number one, you're still going to need your hatchet. Number two, an axe, or even better, a splitting axe with a sledgehammer side is awesome to have. And number three, and almost most importantly, some wedges. Here I'm using wooden wedges, but you can use plastic splitting wedges or metal wedges. They all work fine. I'm going to start by driving a wedge or your hatchet into the end, one end of the log. Once you've started this, you can add one of your wedges. This is not a fast process, and if done incorrectly, can ruin this. I left myself with more than enough room to work with by leaving it higher than me. I'm 6 foot tall. This is nearly 7 feet. This will make a great bow because if this is the back and this is the belly, it's got pre-stored energy. However, this one has a much cleaner and more pristine back. In fact, I may split this one again, and I could definitely get 3 bows out of this. Splitting the log not only helps you dry the wood out faster, it takes down a lot of the work you're going to have to do later in making the bow. It knocks a lot of that stuff right out of the way by making the wood you're working with smaller to begin with. And this piece is splitting nicely. And there you go. So now I have 3 bows worth of material here. Now that you've got the staves in this form, the last and final step before storing them away in a dark, dry place is to paint the ends with an oil-based paint. This helps to prevent against what's called checking or cracking from the ends down. Another reason why you would really want to leave these things a little bit longer, if you're going for a 6-foot stave, you want to make them almost 7 foot. The reason for that is it allows you for 6 inches of checking or cracking from the tips down on each side. Now that I've let them dry for a few minutes, I'm putting the second coat on the second side. And we'll just let it sit here for about 5 minutes. And then I'm going to store them. I have several staves drying right now, mulberry and other staves. So what I went ahead and did is I wrote WM on these for wax myrtle. I wrote it on each one on the belly side because on the belly side I'm going to be removing all of that wood that you can see right there that the paint's on, as well as I'll be removing all of the bark. So that's just a really good idea. If you're saving more than one type of wood, you really want to lay. Okay, they're pretty much dry now. And I'm going to show you where I store them. I store them in my tool shed that is actually connected to the house. I do this because there's insulation on the walls. It's slightly hotter in here than maybe a normal shed out in the yard would be, like a tin shed. We're in and out of here constantly, so there's fresh air in here. And there's no bugs that I know of that are in here, especially like termites and stuff, or else we'd be seeing signs of that with our house. Okay, now that you've got them stored, as I have these stored right here, 1, 2, 3 wax myrtle staves, and obviously you can see the difference in the wood, mulberry, wax myrtle, but just to be safe, go ahead and mark them. It doesn't hurt anything, and it can save you a lot of hassle in the end. Also, my mulberries have silver on the end, and these have black. I hope this video was helpful, and any of you that have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm Jesse Rush with Flingot Bows, and have a good day.